I'm Dr. Bart Rademaker, and this is the Doctor's Guide Podcast, Raw and Unfiltered, bringing to you the insights and the action steps that you can take to optimize the path towards your optimum health. And why do you talk about path? Well, here's the thing. There's so much information out there, so many choices to make. And I'm sure, I don't know you personally, but I do know the problems that people face. And with all the things out there and all the choices out there, I've made a lot of bad choices in products and services and technology, and I want to make sure that that doesn't happen to you. And so the key here is that as the doctor's guide, what we try to do is we try to curate and educate and guide you. But today it's not about promoting a specific product or a service. You can go to those other podcasts for that. Today is about sharing with you the process by which you can make the best decisions for your health. And so how do we actually do that? Well, we do that through role playing. And why is that so important? Because through role playing, you can actually identify yourself in a specific problem, even the emotional aspects of that, the frustration, the anger, the struggle, whatever that is, you might actually get triggered, which is sometimes actually what I hope that does happen, because it's in that triggering that you get to realize, yeah, that's me, it's upsetting me, and now it's time to do something. But the best part is you get to know that it's not only you, you're not alone. So it's a real problem that people can actually help you, process and resolve. And so through this role playing, Dr. Bryn today is going to be sharing a problem that she has, and maybe hers or someone else's, it doesn't matter, but it's real. It's a real thing that happens in life. And Jason will then guide her to some form of resolution. And we're only going to do that for 6 minutes. So obviously, we're not going to make a lot of ground, or maybe we will. But the point of the matter is I want you to hear and connect with, maybe this is your problem too, or a problem that that somebody else has, and therefore you can have them watch this podcast as well. And then after that, after the 6-minute role play, we're just going to unpack it. What's really happening with the amazing experience that both Jason and Dr. Bryn have. And I'm going to have Jason and Dr. Bryn introduce themselves just briefly. We'll go into the role play, and then we'll unpack everything. So I'm going to start with Jason today. Jason, brief introduction of yourself, then we'll go with Dr. Bryn, and then we'll go ahead with the role play.
Yeah, it sounds great. So my name is Jason Kamora. I'm a life and wellness coach. So I've been practicing for several years now. I'm a prior mental health clinician. So I kind of bring life coaching and wellness coaching from a very holistic perspective. So thanks for having me on.
Great. Thank you, Jason. Dr. Bryn.
I'm Dr. Bryn Gillow. I'm a correctional lifestyle family chiropractor. I practice in the Poconos in Pennsylvania and love what I do with all my heart.
Awesome. And I know you guys are amazing at what you do. I've already had the honor to have had an interview before. Well, in case it's later, depending on when this gets scheduled, who knows? It's okay. But I've learned how amazing both of you are. And listeners, kind of think of, why do I want to make a connection with these people to help you on your journey for optimum health? So, Dr. Bryn, let's have you start with your problem, and Jason will guide you over the next 6 minutes.
So, Jason, I've heard such good things about you from other people, and people tell me I should have a coach, but why? What do I need a coach for? I think my life is going quite well. I feel good. I feel healthy. I work out. What do I need a coach for? Like, I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, great question. So I love this. In fact, I appreciate you bringing this to me. I hear this actually all the time. One of the things that coaching does is it helps a person sort of who's in a situation or problem and they can't necessarily see it for themselves, kind of unpack it for them. They help them see it from a more global perspective. So a lot of times when people are going through transitional things in their life, maybe there's areas of their life, whether it be health, wellness, it could be nutritional areas, it could be interpersonal relationships, career, stress management, sleep issues. All these things are kind of intertwined. And when we're in those situations, it's sometimes difficult for us to see the problem or more or less know exactly what to do. And so what a coach does, they kind of bridge the gap between helping you kind of unpack what's going on in your life, and then helping you create a plan, and then sort of navigating you through that plan and helping you develop the skills that will help you accomplish those goals. So talk to me a little bit about what maybe got you interested in even making contact with me today.
Well, let me, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask a quick other question in addition
Yeah,
to
please.
what is the difference between coaching and therapy then? Because it sounds like when you're unpacking and all that, is this more like a therapy session?
No, actually, I'm glad you asked that. So, what therapy is more about working on a particular problem and intervening in a way, whether it's resolving old history things going on in your life, past traumas, or even helping you create new areas. What coaching does is it helps you learn practical skills, and it's more or less a guide. So, therapy, they're not really going to teach you necessarily skills and work with you directly. They may have you self reflect, depending on the clinical approach in therapy, where a coach bridges that gap. They take you and help you learn exactly what you need to do to resolve the problem and hopefully maintain that long term.
So what if there's like different aspects in the problem? Because, you know, you're not a medical doctor or
Mhm.
anything like this. Like, will you then also guide me to seek those other professionals in those things,
Yeah,
or
great question.
kind of do like a surface of all the different things that you were just mentioning?
Yeah, so what we would do in the very beginning is I call it a biopsychosocial assessment. Big fancy word, really, for looking at all aspects of your life. And what we'll do is, as we tease those areas out, we're going to look at the areas where you're having success and areas where you feel like you want to make some improvements or changes. And then if it's not something coaching can resolve, then I would have you either work with somebody who I'm connected with, whether it is a mental health practitioner, some other physical practitioner, a nutritionist, if it's nutritional related issues, or help you find someone in your particular area that would help guide you in those areas while coaching helps you work on the bigger picture.
Hmm.
Yeah. So here's a great example. I have a gentleman who I recently been working with. He's really working on his nutrition and try to improve his life. But one of the things he has is what I would call disordered eating, where he has an unhealthy relationship with food. Now, I know this obviously from my clinical practice as a prior mental health clinician. So what I've done is I've referred him out to a specialist who can work with him about that relationship he has with food. And for him, it happens to be childhood trauma. And so what I do is I work with the behaviors that are associated with eating, and while the clinician's working on the historical stuff and resolve the emotional trauma. So that's
Got-
kind of where the coaching does that bridge of the gap, so to speak.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's a great question. Because
Yeah.
again, the idea is we're all as humans very complex and not one size fits everyone. And so I'm a firm believer from a wellness perspective that we really need a team to come and surround us in all areas, even the areas where we're having good health and success. We still need to maintain those as we go through life, as we have transitional areas, as we endure more stress. Maybe we have good stresses like, marriage or creating a family, and all those kinds of areas, while they're positive, certainly can kind of lead us to need extra support. So really everybody needs a coach, and a good coach has their own coach. Trust me, I have my own coach. I've had him for many years. Just like a good clinician always has their own therapist. That's a sign of a really great coach is we all need that support and guidance. And again, sometimes it's hard for us to see it when we're in it. So that coach helps us see it from that holistic perspective. So
Yeah.
great question.
Let's
Thank
wrap
you.
it up, Bryn. And any more questions, Bryn?
No, no, this very much cleared it up. Thank you.
Awesome.
Sure.
Anything else you want to add there, Jason?
I just want to say this, that it is such a common thing that I hear a lot when people first come to me. Sometimes they're either brought to me by other means, whether it's their employer, whether it's a family member, whether they're just not sure and they're kind of dabbling on the internet, so to speak, and trying to figure out, who do I get connected to? How do I find the right person who's going to help me? What is the difference between therapy and coaching? And so it's just something that's really needs to kind of be spelled out. And, I kind of think of coaching as more of really that interpersonal relationship where a therapist, they can't really do that. There's an ethical and boundary that they would cross
Right.
if they were to have that relationship.
And Dr. Bryn, what was that for you?
Um, it was good to like, I didn't know I had that question, what the difference between therapy and coaching is, but it just kind of came up. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking in my head before, but I appreciate the clarification of that. That was very neat.
Well, I
Yeah.
wrote
It's a
a
question I hear a lot of, by the way.
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
I wrote a lot of notes on this one, and first of all, I get the question all the time about therapy, and the way
Mm,
that I like to discuss that or present that, it's therapists really look at the past, and it's resolving those issues of the past, and or coming to terms with those issues in the past. And a great coach is really looking at the future and tapping into your potential. What's actually possible versus what's really not. But
mhm,
a lot of people are indeed just very reluctant to have a coach for so many reasons. Number one, it's fear because they don't want to deal with stuff, or they
yeah.
don't want to change, or they don't want to leave their community because now they're going to change and now they won't have a community anymore.
Right.
But the other one is simply that coaches are great sounding boards.
Mm,
Great coach is going to ask the right questions, and it's about poking holes in your reality and finding the blind spots, but also it's that sounding board that's non-judgmental. And so coaches are amazing. And oftentimes, as chiropractors, as you are, Dr. Bryn, I'm sure a lot of people ask you a lot of questions. And so technically you're a coach too, right? So you're coaching people on the things in their blind spots that they don't know. And
mhm,
then the final thing that, I think is so important is simply that, yes, you're right, Jason. We all need coaches, and we all need one all the time. And I'm gonna, keep Dr. Bryn accountable in a moment with a question for her, and she's gonna have to be honest with me. But the truth is that we've lost this whole nuclear family situation. And
mm,
when you look at the past, I mean, families were very tight knit.
mhm,
Your older siblings, your aunts and uncles, they were also models, your friends, and so you can model and you can talk to people and get some guidance. But nowadays, with everything so fractionated and everything so dynamic and crazy and out of control, you really don't have a good source of and reliable source of information and guidance. And that's why I agree with you, Jason. Coaches are so important for all of us. So, Dr. Bryn, do you have a coach?
I don't have one specific coach, no.
Oh, well, we're gonna have to change that. I know that you do a lot of personal development, and so technically you have a lot of coaches because you learn a lot of different things through books and other people. And the truth is, I'm gonna invite you basically to find a coach anyhow. So I'm gonna give the floor to both you guys. What else do you want the listeners to know, to hear, to understand, and how to move forward?
yeah. So I'll start by saying this. I'd love for the listeners to ask those difficult questions. Bring that up. Ask, ask. That sounding board is so key. If from what you had said, Bart, you know, connect with a coach. Ask those difficult questions. Ask why would a coach work for me? What's going on in my life? Let them kind of help you unpack some of these things and look at them for yourself. A really good coach is going to help you really tease these things out for you and ask those difficult questions. And when you have a coach, you'd be surprised how much your life truly transforms, not just because I am a coach, but because I'm coached myself and my life has changed drastically by the coaches who have helped me see those blind areas that I didn't see before, and the really what potential I could have in the future. So ask and ask, I guess, is the 3 points I want to have listeners hear.
Any more thoughts, Dr. Bryn?
Since I don't have a coach myself, I don't know if I can add any more points to this.
So let me share something, and this is why I did that, because I have all the respect for Dr. Bryn. She's an amazing doctor, does amazing things, and works really, really hard, because I know her personally, in her own personal development. And so, yes, there's definite ways that people can, find the answers that they need. But the truth is, for a long time, I was very hesitant about having a coach. And I thought to myself, well, I should know everything. And what's a coach actually going to tell me? And quite frankly, I get coached with a brilliant guy. His name is Chad Cooper. And he's an ex-Marine and has many other qualifications. And sometimes I just don't want to talk to him. But the cool thing is that because we're on a routine, on a schedule, in fact, I'm scheduled tomorrow, invariably something will show up, and there is something that I will be able to learn. And sometimes it has nothing to do about, what's going on in my head, but it might be some other distinction, whether it's for my business, for whether it's my projects, whether it's something else, a new insight. And so having that person, in your pocket, that's always going to be available to you. But the other part too is, and why I challenged Dr. Bryn is this, is that your best friends hold you to a higher standard. They keep you accountable. And those are the kinds of friends that you want to have around you, not those people that just say, yeah, you're okay, you're this or you're that, which we have too many of those. And so that's why we can't have our family members coach us either. You have to get somebody out there, but also someone who understands what coaching is all about. And the best way, I mean, I'm sure Jason has a similar, maybe different, thinking of this, or different way to present himself as a coach. But for me, it's about asking the right questions and not imposing upon somebody else, their model of the world, but really kind of dissecting the model of the world, of the other person being coached, with the right kinds of questions. And it's shocking, when you have the right questions being asked. And actually, we get this on this podcast. We had this the other day. It was brilliant. Somebody was struggling with, relationships, and, they're keep on picking the wrong guy in their relationship. And the question that was posed by the other coach was, when do you know that you really want this relationship? And then you suddenly saw this person open up and says, oh my gosh, that's exactly it. Right. And there's a lot that has to be unpacked. And the truth is that in school, at home, we're not getting all the tools and resources to be our best self. And there's a guy called Abraham Maslow who says, we owe it to ourselves to be the best version of ourselves. We're obligated to be that best version of ourselves, because that's when we're going to be happiest. We're going to grow, we're going to expand, we're going to have the quality of life, we're going to be able to do the things we want to do, we're going to have the things we want to have, we're going to meet the people that you want to have. And that's why coaching is so important. And nobody should be basically denounced or not exonerated from having that opportunity. So I want to thank you both. So we'll start off with Dr. Bryn. How do people get a hold of you? Any final thoughts, any final comments, and then we'll go to Jason.
Life is Good Chiropractic is my office name. You can look it up online. Website has all the contact information on it. And Bryn Gillow on Facebook. You can find that at any time as well. And thank you for having us here, Bart. Really appreciate it.
No, it's an honor for me. I've known you for quite some time. We've had a lot of fun at the Tony Robbins and personal development world, and you've been a real gem for me. Jason.
Yeah, so you could find me both on Facebook under Kamora Coaching. You could reach out to me on Instagram as well under Jason Kamora. You could send me an email, kamoracoaching@gmail.com. You could search me on the web. I'm all over the place out there. I'd love to hear from you and see how I might be able to help.
Awesome. And any particular last thoughts about, being a coach, wanting a coach, what are your thoughts?
The thing about, I'll say this about coaching, it is a true honor to be a coach. I love being able to help people really find their true potential. And it's just an amazing experience to see that light bulb moment happen for them when you find that right question, just like you had indicated, and it's so amazing, even as a coach, how much coaching helps you find a better version of yourself, and you continue to peel back those layers and just continue that, as you were saying, with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and you're finding that self-actualization. It's just amazing. So it's just a really amazing thing to do and to experience with coaching. So I highly recommend it, not just because I am a coach, but because coaching is just so valuable in our lives.
Yeah, and full transparency, by the way, and this is one of my favorite stories, is that, look, I went to medical school when I was 17. I trained for 17 years, and to become a plastic and reconstructive surgeon. And I read all the Greek classics and, the Renaissance philosophers. And,
Yeah.
so I came to a point where, I thought I had all the answers. And I speak 4 languages, by the way. But it wasn't out of arrogance. It was just out of ignorance, actually. And then I came across the world of personal development, and I thought to myself, hang on a second. I mean, come on, I'm a doctor. I know all this stuff. And that's the other problem. I mean, many people think that they're supposed to know the stuff, and they're very ashamed when they don't, and are not willing to accept the fact that they don't know. And that was me. And
Yes.
so I very reluctantly was, dragged to an event with Tony Robbins, and I had my exit plan already planned out. I was only going to stay there for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and I was going to make my escape. And everything changed within 10 minutes when I saw this huge guy on stage, and basically saying, look, I'm playing small. And at least I was saying to myself, I'm playing small. There's so much more that I can do. And I was so excited. I was like a little kid in the candy store. I was like, oh my gosh, you mean this is all possible? And
Uh,
so that's the feeling that I hope that people will get, to know that there's so much more out there, so much more success out there, so much awesomeness out there, when you get connected with the right people. And so with Dr. Bryn, it's, structurally getting that structure all lined up. And it's with Jason, helping you design a better future for yourself, no matter where you start from. And
yeah.
because it's all available to us, and it has a lot to do with the mindset. And that's where coaches really help as well. So I want to thank you both. I'm Dr. Bart Rademaker. This is the Doctor's Guide Podcast, Raw and Unfiltered, bringing to you the insights and the action steps that hopefully you can then take as you recognize yourself in the role playing, so that you can design a better life for yourself. Once again, thank you so much, and we will be back.